Hello, everyone. My name is Marion with DTM Real Talk Channel. It's the channel that you can tune into, have the ability to listen to the thoughts of others about topics all over the world that touch every one of our lives. Everybody goes through basically the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. So if you're going through, someone else has already been there. Maybe you can find hope. Maybe it's a pathway that can set you on the right road just by tuning in. So DTM Real Talk, just keeping it real. And if you like it, like us at the bottom, subscribe, and let us know just how we helped you. Just keeping it real. Nothing but love. Good evening. This is DTM Real Talk, and we're just back, and I'm on the edge of my seat right now, and I know you are, because we have Eno back, and she's going to finish this story. For those of you that did not watch it last week, I need you to go back, but I'm going to do a quick review for you. Eno is from Nigeria. Say hi to the good folks.
Hi, y'all.
She's a little bit nervous. Last week, she didn't want to cry. And I know y'all figured it out. Her laughter was really her tears. Anyway, it was. But it's okay. You did really good. It took the grace of God for you to share what you shared with us last week. She's from Nigeria. And she shared about being an only child and mom being a very hardworking individual, loving mother, and leaving her at home with her aunt. And a guy was there, the uncle, I suppose, and had been molesting her since she was 3 years old. By the time she was 6, she had lost her virginity, which was very painful for her and was painful for me listening. But I thank God for you and your boldness to share, your humility, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. So I want to applaud you, and I'm sure the people out there are applauding you. And you know, the thing is, a lot of times women go through these things at childhood and they never talk about it. And they suppress it, and it comes out in the form of a lot. We talked about this at the meeting. It comes out in the form of insecurity. It comes out in the form of not being aggressive, being too aggressive. It comes out in the form of anxiety. It comes out in the form of illness, and the inability to be able to have a healthy relationship with anybody. When you don't deal with these issues and handle them and start your healing process, it's very likely that you will not be able to have a healthy relationship with anybody, less known a man, woman, boy, or girl, because so many things have been damaged. You've been damaged emotionally, physically, you know, and it takes a toll on the whole man, you know, the whole person. So again, I applaud you and thank you for your transparency. So I got off the track, folks, but if y'all want to listen to it, go back and listen to it. And so she actually graduated from high school at what age again in Nigeria?
15.
At 15, yes, and came to the States with her boyfriend, who turned out to be very emotionally abusive to her. And later she got married. Am I on the right track?
Yes.
She got married, and then he was abusive physically and emotionally. And nobody knew she was going through all this, including mom. And so let's talk. We're in the States now, so continue there.
Yeah. So okay, yes. We're in the States now, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're in the States.
So
And your
when I was
father is gone.
Yes, my daughter's father is gone. I'm with Steven now, my current husband.
Okay.
And again, I caught myself repeating a pattern. I was going through something and I was hiding it from my mom. My mom would call me. She's a very praying woman. You know, she's always praying. 12 a.m., she's up to 3 a.m. praying every day. And she calls me one day and she said, I had a dream and I saw you in an unrestful state. Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, hubby's fine, kid is fine, this is fine, that is fine. A week later, she would call me again. Um, the next day she would call me again. And one day she calls me crying. She's like, I don't know why, but my spirit is, I had a dream and I saw you looking for me. You were
Mm.
looking for me, you were looking for me, and I was trying to find you, but you were looking for me in another direction. I need you to talk to me. Are you okay? And I was in the car. I break down and I start crying to my mom and I start telling her everything I was going through. At that time,
No, you're telling
Stevens,
her everything you're going through with the husband, but you hadn't told her about the molestation.
no, I never told her about
All
the
right.
molestation. I
Okay.
always kept that part away from her. Um, I started telling her, my ex, my Steven and I decided to take our daughter to SeaWorld. His sister had a ticket. She's in the military, so she had like a free ticket, and she said, "Oh, let's all meet up there like a family trip or something." So we get there and trying to be a good wife. We had the same money account, everything, and he had the card with him. My daughter is asking him for water. She wanted to drink water. He refused to buy water. We're at SeaWorld for close to 5 hours. He refused to buy my daughter a drop of water. Now all my money is in his account. And as a mom, I started getting a little bit agitated with the situation. So we get in the car, we're going home, and he tells her, "Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna get you water once we get to a gas station." And I said, "Okay." I told her, I said, "Don't worry, we're almost at a gas station, we'll get water." We get to this gas station, he comes out with a slushy, one for himself.
Okay.
And I was like, I turned and I looked at him and I said, "You're a very wicked person. Like, who does that to a child?" This child was so excited for a cup of water. Like, it's water, for crying out loud. And you couldn't get hot water. Give me my money. You have my money in your account. Let's go use the ATM. Give me my money. I need to get my daughter something to drink. So he gets upset. He starts driving the car off. I'm upset too. I'm not even gonna lie. My daughter is crying because she wants water. It's water. I'm upset. He drives into another gas station. He goes in and gets water. He comes back. He throws the 2 bottles of water on me. He tells me to come drive the car, which was my car at that time. So I
Uh-huh.
didn't care. I opened the water. I gave my daughter. My daughter was happy. She just wanted water. So we're driving home. I start playing music in the car. He turns off the music. I keep playing it. He turns it off. Me and my daughter's song comes on, a Nigerian song. We're singing it together. The little she can, she's doing it too. I try to I'm trying to lighten the mood because
Yeah.
I was feeling aggravated before. And we're in traffic on the highway coming back to Dallas, and the traffic just clears a little and we start moving. Next thing I know, I felt something at that time that felt like a rock across my face
Mm-hmm.
while I was driving. So with that shock, I turned around and I'm like,
Wait,
"Did you?"
wait, he hit you while you were
He
driving?
hit me while I was driving with my daughter in the back seat. So I had this like 3 seconds of shock where I was asking him, "Did you hit me?" And every time I remember that part, it's so funny to me because I kept asking, "Did you hit me? Did you
Okay.
hit me?" And my daughter is screaming from the back, "Mommy, he hit you. Call the police," like a child. So I swerve out of the highway. I park in front of a Metro PCS. As I'm trying to park, he grabs my phone and he runs away. I run to the Metro PCS. I ask the ladies if they can give me their phone to call the police. By the time I turned around, he was already gone. So I said, "That's fine. I'm leaving you here. I'm going home." I look in the gas. He had all the money. I need to fill the gas tank. So I couldn't go anywhere. That gas would take me to Dallas. So I'm waiting in the car. He comes back. He tells me he threw my phone under the car. I look under the car. My phone was there. I grab it. He's apologizing all the way home. I'm just quiet, not saying anything, not talking, just trying to get home. When we got to the house, he's apologizing to me again. I'm I was in this mood of, I don't want to talk about it. Not today. I don't want to talk about it. I put my baby to bed. I lay down on the floor. And that was when the sexual abuse started. He
Okay.
came behind, he
Sexual
came
abuse from the husband.
from the husband started. He came behind me trying to penetrate me anally, like forcefully. And I'm
Where's your
struggling, but
daughter? Where's your
she's
daughter?
already sleeping on her bed because the way our room was set up, I had our bed and then her bed on the wall
Yeah.
in the room, and then we had the space between the two beds where sometimes I'll just lay on the floor if I wanted, or sit on the floor if I wanted to do anything.
Right.
And so he had me like choked down on the bed while he was forcefully trying to do what he wanted to do. And I remember thinking, my daughter is in this room. If I start screaming, it will wake my baby up. So I have my head buried in the pillow. And when he was done, whatever he wanted to do, he just got up and walked away like I was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he came back to beg again. And I was like, okay, that happened. I'll give it another chance. And the more chances I gave,
You
the
see,
more worse it became. Yeah, it became. There it was no going back. It got to a point where he would even walk around the house with a knife in his hand. Yes, if um if I would serve him food, and because that's how I was raised, serve your husband. You cook, you'd put in
absolutely,
a plate, and
absolutely,
yes, and I never want to ever feel ashamed for serving a man who I thought was my husband. So
right.
I served him food, and his cousins were in the house. I served the cousins, everybody was eating. He was on a patio, and then he came in the room, slapping me across the face, like punching me and slapping me, saying that I didn't bring his food to the patio where he was. Like, am I not from Africa? Didn't they teach me how to respect my men? I want to come to America and act like I'm an American now. While this man is choking me. And I remember just looking at him like, what did I do to you? It wasn't even the pain. I just had tears rolling down my eye. Like, I cooked. I served you.
Yeah,
Everybody came to grab their plate. I'm tired. I just came back from work. I cleaned, I cooked, I served you, and you're choking me, strangling me because I didn't bring your food to the patio.
yeah,
So everything just started boiling from there. The whole walking around the house with a knife, the whole breaking the door, like he would get angry and he would just push the door and break it, just things. And one day I started telling my mom all of that. And she was like, why wouldn't you tell me this? Like,
mm,
you have nobody there but yourself. Why wouldn't you, even if I can't be there physically, I can be there spiritually for you in prayers.
yeah,
So I started, after that, me and mom talking, I started telling my mom, she would constantly send me prayer points. But
mm-hmm.
eventually I just got really tired, and I realized that yes, life will still be hard regardless. With a man, it's hard. Without the man, it's the same type of hard. But I rather have the hardness alone without this extra burden that he was putting on me than to stay here and say, because of the fear of being alone, I was keeping this man. Especially because I had a daughter. I didn't want my daughter to see that. I
Yeah,
didn't want my daughter to think that that was the norm. This type of man was the norm, because there are better men out there. And I wanted her to get a chance to see that. So I left, or I kicked him out.
yeah. Okay, okay. So, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, so you kicked him out, and at what point did you realize that you had not forgiven? I'm just going what I see, that you had not forgiven. At what point
Even
did you realize?
him,
Uh-huh.
um, I don't think I ever felt like I'd forgiven him. I think I just buried
Waiting
it.
for you to say that.
I just buried it. Okay, so after he did what he did and I kicked him out, I
Uh,
was on that journey of, I'll let God handle you. I would always, when it comes to mind, I'll say something like, oh, Stephen Harris, I'll let God handle you. You're in God's hands now. But after I kicked him out, they scheduled my immigration interview.
okay.
And so I reached out to him and I said, my immigration interview has been scheduled. Would you be there? And he was like, yeah, after everything I've done to you, this is how I want to show you that I'm sorry. I'll be there. Everybody was like, no, go get a lawyer, do this, do that. I was like, you know what? He said he'll be there. He'll be there. And he was really assuring I'll be there. The morning of my interview, he calls me. He tells me, what time do I need to be at the interview? I say, at this time,
Was
be there.
did him being there, was it predicated, was anything predicated on him being there?
Yeah, everything was.
Okay.
So I say a prayer with my mom. I get on the road. I'm going. He starts texting me. Oh, now you need me. Oh, now you want me back. I'm like, oh God, like, what is happening? I said, God, it's gonna be in your hand at this point. I hope this man shows up. I get to the interview. They call my name. I tell the person my husband is coming. He's not here. I call him. He says, hey, what's up? I said, we're here waiting for you. Where are you? Oh, I'm coming. They come back and they call me again. I call him, voicemail. They call me into the office. Where's your husband? The man said, okay, call him in my presence so I know he's on his way. I call him. voicemail. To
Mm.
find out what was happening, they denied my immigration process, which usually next step will be deportation. They
That's what
denied.
happened to Tanya, you know.
Really?
Yes, did she didn't share that story with you? She did it on the
No.
show. I'll send you the clip. Yeah, she went for an interview, supposed interview, and they kept her. She ended up staying at home for back home, back in where she
That
was.
that that's scary. Especially as a mom with a daughter, a child, when you get deported, you don't get the chance to take your child with you. It's just
Well, she
you
got to
on your
take
own.
Tavian with her,
Oh wow.
but he was only 2 months or 3 months, something like
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
so what happened after that?
well, so after that, I just
They denied you. Did they deport you?
they denied me. No, they didn't report me. They denied me. God found me help and grace at that time. I was able to find a lawyer. I started working 2 jobs to pay my lawyer fee and do the next step. But that was when I realized that I was angry with this man.
Okay.
Like, you've taken all of this away from me and you still take this. Like, this should have been my compensation for what you put me through.
Mm-hmm.
This should have been the only way you would have made it up to me for what I went through with you. And you still take this away from me. I was so mad.
Mm.
I I was so angry. If he had come around me at that time, I feel like he would have seen me on 48 hours. Lady kills her husband.
Yeah.
That's how angry I was at that time.
Sure.
So I just made up my mind that so I don't go to jail, I needed him very far away from me.
Sure. Sure. Let me ask you this. Okay, so you're getting divorced, you put him out, and you're starting over. So what have you done to begin your healing process? Because would you agree with me that look at your pattern? You're attracted to abusive men. Am
Yes,
I correct?
yes, yes,
And a lot of times women are attractive to abusive men because they don't know their own value.
yeah,
They're looking for their self-worth in someone else.
yes, in someone else.
Am I correct?
Yes,
So,
yeah,
so would you agree with me that that's kind of the road you're on?
that,
You,
yes,
yes.
yes. After my ex-husband, I stayed away from dating. I stayed away from men in general. I started doing a lot of meditation, praying. I'm not the most religious person, but I still believe in God. Like, He's the Almighty. I would still say my prayers to Him. I started praying,
Mm-hmm.
talking more to, not therapists per se, because I have a hard time with therapy. I'm still one of those that is having a hard time going to therapy, but I would talk to, like, my mom's, what she would call her spiritual guides. These were like pastors that she's had for the
Sure.
longest. And I
Sure.
would call them and say, I want to have a conversation with you away from religion, but I need you to listen to me and advise me accordingly. So I stayed away from men. And then when I eventually started dating, I started trying to date a guy who was in the military. And this was what showed me that my healing journey was progressing.
Uh-huh.
He started showing some flags.
Oh,
Bless you.
Lord. Thank you. Bless me,
Bless
Lord.
you.
Bless me.
Bless you.
Go ahead.
He started showing some characteristics which I feel like the past me would have made excuses for. But as soon as I saw those behaviors, I cut it off and I stepped away. And it wasn't until I stepped away, I was talking to someone, and the person was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you because I don't think I would have done that." I was like, "You know what, Eno? You're healing. Like,
Yeah.
you've
Process is
changed."
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
What it is you're recognizing your own behavior.
Yes.
Yeah. What did I tell you at the meeting? Adversity reveals who to who.
Character.
And it builds character, but it
Reveals
reveals
character
you to
to
yourself.
you. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So good job. Tell you like I
Yeah.
tell my grandbaby, good job, my baby. And so the whole thing is, I'm proud of you. I don't know what else to say except I applaud you for taking ownership, and forgiving yourself because it's not your fault.
True.
And
True.
for actually looking for your value in you, and
Yes.
yeah. But anyway, I say to you out there, the only true way, YouTube world, for you to find value or know your value is to have a true relationship with Jesus. That's all. It's about relationship. It's not about religion. It's about believing that Jesus died on the cross for your sins and having a desire in your heart to change, because sin is the problem. People do what they do because they do it. You sin because you're a sinner. And, we don't go to hell because we sin. We sin because we're a sinner. We go to hell because we reject Jesus, if that makes sense. But anyhow, I am proud of you for acknowledging, for discovering you, and being able to share that with so many out there. What I want to ask you is, what advice would you give to someone that's refusing to talk about it, refusing to go to therapy? Therapy is not a bad word, y'all.
It's not.
Therapy is good.
Yeah.
Therapy is good. I get therapy all the time. Give therapy, but I get it. Okay. Provide therapy, but I get it too.
Yeah. I would say talk about it scared. You have to put yourself in a community, a safe space. Yes. Put yourself amongst people that make you feel safe. Women who are experienced in life, that will hear your story from an angle of judgment, but from an angle of inspiration, and talk. I will call Tanya and I will talk because I feel like talking. 2 years ago, it wasn't me. I will not talk. You'll just see me gaining weight because I'm stress eating, and I'm not talking, I'm dying inside. But now I have the community of women that I can call and just talk. Talk scared. Talk when you're crying. Talk when you're sad. And just talk. And if you need to cry, cry. Like I said in the meeting that day, don't be ashamed of tears. So many people see tears as weakness. I'm still in that spot. I laughed a few times when I wanted to cry. But don't be ashamed of your tears.
Keep laughing, my baby.
I laugh. I'll be the silliest person in the room while my head is going crazy. But don't be afraid to cry, because crying really helps. It's therapy on its own.
It's an emotion that God gave you.
Yes.
Wants you to use it.
Yes. Yeah.
And he remembers every tear of his children and put it in a bottle. That's what the word says. Hey. Just because I'm old, don't say I can't dance now. Okay.
Get it, Miss Mary. Get it.
Anyway, it's just been a pleasure. I'm gonna have you say something else. What do I want? And what would you say to those out there that are having difficulty forgiving themselves? That's what I want you to talk to them about. What would you say to them?
Is it the Bible? I think in the Bible there was something they said, forgive your transgressors 7 times, 77 times, or something like that.
Any other person, yeah.
Yes.
If
God can instruct you to forgive someone else that much, imagine how many times he wants you to forgive your own self.
Pretty good.
You'll have to forgive yourself for everything. Forgive yourself for your mistake, because you didn't know any better. If it was something you did to yourself intentionally, even if it's unintentional, you didn't know. Nobody wakes up every today and says, today, Anna, I'm going to go destroy myself. You didn't know that. So forgive yourself as much times as you know God wants you to forgive another person. If he wants you to forgive someone else 1 million times 10 of that time, forgive your own self. Every day, every second, every hour, every minute, forgive yourself.
All right. Well, guys, this is DTM Real Talk, and we just do what?
We're talking real life.
Real. Y'all next week. Thanks for watching DTM Real Talk. Be sure to join us for more conversation. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe while you're there.